Hi there Booktube, it's Eleanor here and it's time for my Friday reads where I talk about the books that I've read in the past week and the books that I'm looking forward to reading next week. But before we get into those, I want to do my Booktuber Shoutout of the week, and this week I want to shout out Janet from Swirly Girly Reads. I love that, it just rolls off the tongue. Swirly Girly Reads. I really am fast becoming a favourite on Janet's channel. I love watching her videos. She's really lovely. She always takes the time to comment on all of my videos, which I just think is a really nice thing. I try and comment as much as I can on people's videos when I watch them, and she always takes that extra time and effort to chat to me, and I really appreciate that. And also I really enjoy listening to her thoughts on different books. She has a varied reading style which is very similar to mine. She reads from a lot of different genres, and yeah, I'm just really loving her channel, and I definitely think she deserves more subscribers and some love from us lot. So go check her channel out, it'll be linked down below as always, and give her some love and subscribe if you like what you see, which I think you will, because she's very similar to me in her reading tastes. So if you like my stuff, then you'll probably like hers too. Okay, so let's get into the books. As always, for the moment, I will be talking about nearly all of the books I've read, but I won't be discussing the books that I have read as part of the Booktube SFF Awards 2016, because I will be doing a SFF Babbles chat one Thursday about the shortlist and my thoughts and feelings on it, so I'm saving my thoughts on the books for that. But even without commenting on those, I've still got 4 books to get through, so let's have a chat about those. First book I read this week was Futuristic Violence and Fancy Suits by David Wong, and I read this as a buddy read with Caitlin from Kitty G and Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings. I bought this for the girls for Christmas. Pretty much unseen. I went in a bit blind. I tried to find a book that I thought maybe all 3 of us would like, which is really difficult because we've all got pretty, well, me and Caitlin like some of the same fantasy, but we all have different tastes and different genres that we like. So this was a bit of a shot in the dark really, and I was really surprised and excited by it. It was a little bit out of my comfort zone. It's set in a world where social media and the internet are just totally out of control. You can star basically in your own sort of reality show by, you know, people have constantly got cameras attached to everything, and you can flip between different people's cameras and focus just on yourself, so you can see where you were seen and sort of be a star in your own reality show unwittingly sometimes. And our story is about our main protagonist, Zoe. She lives in a trailer park in the sort of middle of nowhere, a bit of a dead-end job. She lives just with her mum, who is a stripper, which seems like it's not an uncommon job in this world. And one day she is stalked by someone that is trying to kill her, and she discovers why. And her father, who she doesn't really know, her estranged father, is a massive billionaire, and he has died and left her everything, including the clues to opening a safe, which they don't know what contains. And there is a hit out on her head, and there's lots of different sides trying to get hold of her, and it's just her and her really smelly cat who she adores on this sort of adventure journey to try and discover more about her father, more about the world that he lived in, more about the secrets that are going on and what he was trying to do. And it's just hilarious. I really enjoyed it, and I won't spoil it, but if you read it, there was a bit that really made me chuckle where there's a talking toilet, which sounds ridiculous but also is a reality already. I know that in certain places you can go to the toilet and it reminds you to wash your hands and things like that, and this toilet is rather funny, so I really enjoy that. It was just a really fun, fast, action-packed read, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but one that I really appreciated and enjoyed, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars. The next book I picked up was one I've been excited to read for quite a while, and that is Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. Sarah Addison Allen was recommended to me by one of you, and I ended up picking up a lot of her books a while ago, and I have finally got to this one, and I'm so pleased. I read this in a day. It was one of those really just enjoyable, relaxing, fun books to read with a little bit of sort of magical realism in there. It's set in a small town where the Waverley family has always been, and in the Waverley house garden there is a giant apple tree, and it's said to have these mythical powers, and the village all sort of think it's got these special powers, and if you use the plants that are grown in the garden by the apple tree in certain foods and things, you can help create senses of feelings and emotions. And it's said that all of the Waverley women have certain sort of abilities to do different things, and there's also other families in the town that have said to have these abilities. There's, you know, a group of women in one family who are said to have the sort of sexual abilities where, you know, they're always everybody's best time sort of thing. It's just really lovely, and it's a story of family. It's a story of two sisters coming back together and forming a relationship, and of just discovering themselves. And yeah, it was just a really beautiful magical read, and I'm really pleased I read it, and I gave this one 4 stars. Next up was a buddy read with the lovely Joss at Squibbles Reads, and we read Some Girls Are by Courtney Summers. This was a book I was really excited to read. The premise from the back told me that it was about a girl who was in the sort of Mean Girls group who was really popular. Something happens to her one night and she is shunned because there is a rumour that she slept with her best friend's boyfriend, which isn't true. That's not a spoiler, it's right at the beginning. And she is then sort of shunned and picked on and bullied, and becomes one of those people that she used to bully. I had high hopes for this. I thought it was going to be engaging, and I thought it was going to cover some gritty topics in a really good way. However, I was left disappointed with this story. There was a very large lack of adult presence in the story. You didn't see any teachers or any parents really, and the parental involvement and the teacher involvement that did occur was minimal and ineffectual and very unrealistic. Also, I didn't like the ending. The ending just felt like it wrapped up a little bit too easily. I can't tell you why, because obviously that would spoil it. But this book was just left me a little bit sort of feeling a bit sort of cheated really. It had potential, but it just wasn't a good read for me, and I sort of gave it 3 stars, but I'm thinking now maybe 2.5, and I think that's similar to what Joss thought. We both had very similar feelings on this. It had the potential to deliver more, but unfortunately it was a dud for me, and yeah, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. So unfortunately, this wasn't my best read of this week. And then the final book that I read this week that wasn't part of the SFF Book Awards is The Marvels by Brian Selznick. This was picked up, I've had this on my shelf for a while, and I picked it up on a little bit of a whim. I think it's a beautiful book, beautiful gold pages, and the first 400 pages of this is told through pictures, which I really love about his writing. I've read Hugo Cabret and really enjoyed that. And then you go at the back, there is some more sections with a sort of couple of 100 pages in the middle of text. And this story, it was disappointing. I wanted it to be more. It's the story of the Marvel family. At the beginning, we're told through pictures about how a young boy stows away on a ship with his brother, and he gets discovered that he's stowed away, and they put on this play. And there is a shipwreck. He's the only survivor of the shipwreck. He ends up finding his way to a London theatre, and we follow generation upon generation of son born into this family who take to the stage and become these great actors. We then end up, and that's sort of in the 1800s, we then end up in 1990, and in the text part of it we're following a boy who runs away from boarding school. He's a Marvel. He runs to his uncle's house in London, and there uncovers some mysteries of his family. I really liked the visual art part of this, but the story itself in the text part really fell a little bit flat for me. It's ultimately a family mystery story, so I can't tell you what the mystery is or it would spoil it, and I was just left feeling a little bit disappointed, unfortunately, and so I only gave this one 3 stars. So that's all the books that I finished this week, and I am currently reading A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I'm reading this along with a number of different booktubers, and I'm trying to read around 100 pages a day. So far I'm a couple of hundred pages in and it's going okay, but I will talk more about it in my wrap up of this next week. And the other books that I'm looking at to read this week are all going to be buddy reads with the lovely Brittany from Under the Radar Books. We had about 4 buddy reads set for this month, and so we decided to do our own sort of mini readathon, just the 2 of us. So we are reading a number of books over the week, and I will wrap them up with you next week. Anyway, that's it from me this week, and don't forget to check out Janet from Swirly Girly Reads. I think you will like her channel if you like mine, and I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye for now, Booktube.